Now, hey guys, there's a new blockchain called Nano, which does purely peer-to-peer cash. Now, what was crypto actually invented for in the first place? Peer-to-peer cash, right? Has any blockchain really adhered to that? Not really. That's what Bitcoin started out to be, but it evolved into something else. Now, there are all sorts of other solutions to maybe enable peer-to-peer cash on top of everything else, such as the Bitcoin OS, which uses ZK proofs. But in terms of a blockchain that's purely tailored for peer-to-peer cash, Nano is that blockchain. And by the way, the ticker symbol is XNO. Now, what's interesting about this, guys, is it's a feeless blockchain. So when you make transactions, you don't pay any fees. And you sort of begin to think, well, how is the network funded? Well, firstly, it's very, very cheap to run a node on Nano, okay? And typically businesses would now save lots of credit card fees, okay, by using this blockchain because they're not paying any fees, right? So this is great for businesses, yeah? And so what is very interesting about this is it uses a consensus mechanism, proof of balance, okay, where account holders, okay, they have a balance and they can delegate their votes to these nodes called representatives, right? And these representatives basically oversee the network and agree on consensus. Now, what is very interesting here, guys, is that each transaction is its own block. Now, what's great about that is you don't have to spend lots and lots of time trying to fill blocks, okay? Like with pretty much every other blockchain, a transaction is a block, and each account is its own blockchain. So if you have a sender and a receiver sending a transaction, the sender has its own blockchain, the receiver has its own blockchain as well, and the blocks in each of those blockchains are linked, okay? But accounts generally across the whole network, they are not linked in any structural way. They're all essentially independent. Now, this is an extremely novel new way of approaching. It's called a block lattice, okay, where each block is a transaction. This basically helps to achieve instant finality because you're not spending time filling up blocks. Now, the consensus mechanism that I mentioned earlier, the voting process, is called open representative voting, and that's done by these special representative nodes, okay? So think of each of the chains as individual blockchains, and they're all running in parallel, a bit like train road tracks, okay? But they're not necessarily linked together, but they're overseen in consensus by all these representative nodes, or in the train analogy, station managers. Now, check out my book. It's The Essential Guide to Blockchain Platforms. It's on Amazon. There is not a chapter on Nano at this point, but there may be in a future second edition. But if you're interested in consensus mechanisms like proof of routing work, which is a very new consensus mechanism by Saito blockchain, and other consensus mechanisms, of course, the usual proof of work, proof of stake, and how they compare, and different blockchains, this is the comparative guide for you. It's on Amazon. Thanks, guys.